The whole thing has led to some dissent within the Liberal Party, to say the least. Let's hear some of the contributions now.
One or two people think that they can make a bit of a jolly for themselves by indicating what those discussions were. People that leak are people that cannot be trusted.
There's no problems in having a free voice. That's what you're allowed to do, but you should always be prepared to put your name to it.
So who within your party is leaking? So who within the shadow cabinet is leaking to journalists about what's happening in shadow cabinet?
Well, only the journalists would know.
But do you trust that they don't want your job? Does it annoy you?
Haven't admired the woman as much for years.
Well, Annabelle, you made the point, I think Chris Shulman has made the point, these are imaginary cuts, but they lead to real conflict.
This is the confusing thing about what's been going on in the last week, and this is a decision that an opposition makes when it, from opposition, announces budgetary cuts. And, you know, it's a courageous thing to do. It's the right thing to do if you're trying to make the argument that you are prepared to go into government and, you know, we're not just sort of imagining cuts out of the air. Here's actually what we'd do. But it leads to problems in that, you know, there are people out there who believe that the Indonesian schools are actually being kind of, you know, dismantled as we speak. You know, the money's still going. This is all kind of a fantasy football league of budgetary accounting. But the fighting is totally real, which is what's the kind of, you know, weird thing about it. And on the foreign aid front, I'll just say that the coalition's commitment is to increase total foreign aid to 0.5%, which is something that Julie Bishop is extremely enthusiastic about. It's a bipartisan commitment, by the way. And the Indonesian schools cuts came about because she was unhappy with the idea of copying a cut to African foreign aid. And the schools cut came up at the last minute, proposed by Tony Abbott.
Well, just on that, can you take us through, according to the leaks, how the conversation went between Julie Bishop and Tony Abbott?
Yeah. So what happened was last Friday, Julie Bishop was overseas. Sorry, Friday, a week ago. Julie Bishop was away, Shadow Cabinet met, and were talking about this cut to African aid. She came back over the weekend, went to another Shadow Cabinet meeting on Monday where they ruled out the African cuts. The prospect, as I understand it, of the Indonesian schools was raised also on Monday. She actually made a very impassioned speech to Shadow Cabinet, not only opposing the cuts to the foreign aid budget, but opposing the approach of mounting a shadow budgetary cut operation. She said she thought it was ridiculous.
But that's not the way it was reported, certainly on the Indonesian schools. It was reported that she supported that, and therefore she should think about her position.
Yeah, she didn't support the Indonesian schools, as I understand it.
And wasn't it reported that she then said to Tony Abbott, it's you who supported that, and therefore you should think about your position?
That's right. Monday evening, as I understand it, she spent shopping around her colleagues looking for other places to get cuts, and as I understand it, she got some from Malcolm Turnbull and I think Greg Hunt. They were prepared to cough up spending from within their portfolios.
Notional spending.
And when Julie Bishop put this to Tony Abbott late on Monday night, that's when the altercation happened, because he said, no, we're going to go ahead with the schools cuts, you know, forget about your other ideas. So that's where the blow-up happened. Now, I think they have kind of made up since. I think that there is, to me, no suggestion of a really ongoing permanent breach between Tony Abbott and Julie Bishop.